so that they do have the mechanisms to actually deal with this IO. And it's going to be interesting to see, is this Doom going to be in the offlane or mid? If it's in the offlane, I think they have to maybe expect some Drow Venge lane coming in, because I think that would absolutely demolish a Doom.
It will be. Like, yeah. I would say that now that you mentioned Drow, last game you mentioned Morph as well, I think Drow here is almost a certain pick for Team Liquid. Yeah. Something that they would love to play with the Vengeful on the lane. Something that demolishes Doom because of the minus armor as well. You have the minus armor, you have a stun, you have a slow. It's extremely difficult for a Doom to play that lane. Then again, Viking could respond by either switching up the Doom. There you go, the Drow. They could switch up the Doom either to mid lane or safe lane, right? They could at least dodge that lane and make some adjustments, because Drow really suffers versus tri lanes. You could also do that.
I'm just somewhat scared for this Drow though, where you're opening up the second phase by presenting this Drow like we expected it, seeing the Venge and the Doom there, and now there we go. You got Spirit Breaker once again.
Spectre is in the pool. Phantom Lancer is in the pool.
Exactly.
Like, you're opening up with this Drow because you see why she's strong. There are definitely reasons why she's really strong and good against these three heroes. But there are some weak points to it. Like,
it's not about the lanes though, right? We see in the game one, when we talk about the draft, we're talking about how, okay, these guys survive this and do this. But for Viking, they don't really care too much about the laning phase. It's about that mid game. And right now I see Liquid with the same issue, where they have a nice looking draft, they can play their lane, but they're not at any point am I scared of these three heroes right now. Compared to Viking, you can have Doom and Spiritbreaker running through. Like, there's not enough kind of rebuttal from Liquid to stop these two kind of big boys coming through the line, especially when you got the eye behind them.
So when heroes are able to move as fast as Vikings heroes usually are, what's really good to have is form of dispositioning them or containing them with the puck. But Vengeful and Tiny are pretty solid when it comes to that. You have tossback, you have the swap as well, you have multiple ways of stopping the charge. You have a hero that can give distance to the Drow Ranger against the Doom, which is also pretty solid. So, what do you think? Phantom Lancer or Spectre? Spectre.
What about Phantom Assassin?
Nah, Spectre. They picked it.
The thing is that both of those heroes are not traditional IO partners.
But I think.
And so, how important is that?
I think it doesn't matter anymore nowadays, because like the IO is not about the combo, it's about the gameplay, the map, how you're enabling your entire team. Can you suddenly bring that extra bit of heal to the fight? Are you pairing? And right now the pairs are the Doom, the Spirit Breaker. You're never really going to be going, here you go Spectre, how can I help you? Think about laning phase, the IO naturally is like that Warlock-esque hero. He'll provide the healing for Spectre, that's all he needs from his position 5. And then at minute 7, when you want to disconnect that safe lane, IO just jumps with the Spirit Breaker, and now you have this double roaming. And
if you're Team Liquid right now, you see the Spectre, and you have to realize that your late game is extremely bad versus her. It can be very, very difficult. Like, the high ground defense is there, but any fight anywhere across the map with the Spectre's Haunt active can be really difficult, because you will always be able to give the Spirit Breaker and the Doom the vision. Why the Spectre is so good here is, you pop that Haunt, Doom can pick a target to jump on and Doom it. Spirit Breaker can pick a target instantly to charge on. So this Spectre might put you off a little bit because of the Wisp combo, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, it's a really, really good pick for Viking.
Yeah. In regards to Liquid though, the fact that they do have multiple lanes to stop this Spirit Breaker feeling like he can have a good time. When you play Barrow, you always want to be able to connect on your lane and then kind of walk away. But against Puck, you never connect. He has Phase Shift, Orb, Waning Rift, there's so many ways to annoy you. Same with Drow, you have Gust. Like, this Spirit Breaker won't have that potentially that really big impact onto that mid lane. So it forces him into the one corner of the map.
And the Spirit Breaker Doom, like you mentioned, overall, it's not the greatest lane. No. However, I want to be Kyle a little bit. Team Liquid, damage amplification.
It's true.
You have Vengeful, you have Drow. If they itemize properly, perhaps a Slardar on the... Slardar's banned out.
Yeah,
damn it. Beastmaster on the offlane.
Beastmaster, sure.
Beastmaster, why not? that could work. So you want to play this tempo coming from Team Liquid, and a hero such as Beast could definitely fit them. It's a hero also that does quite well versus the Doom. If you roar him, you can kill him off easily. You have the Hawks to give you vision against him too, to see any sort of movements coming your way. Not sure if they'll go that route though.
Where's the burst from Viking though? That's what enabled their aggression and their general kind of in-your-face play was because they're this tiny. Having a standout game, 10 plus deaths, kills.
How about we go all out on global potential? Let's get a Zeus on this.
Could do.
Could be, but you know what I like really about Liquid so far? This Puck pick is way more than just a hero that benefits from Drow. It's a hero that punishes a lot of mid laners that Viking love to go for. Now they went with Bat, but your Storm Spirit, your Ember Spirit, suddenly you don't have to ban them out. You have this Puck on the mid lane that can punish them. But Bat Rider is like completely... I can't believe it hasn't been banned out. We didn't see all the bans, but... Alright.
Yeah, they go for Storm Spirit. So Liquid, they're rounding out their draft with the ability of... They are very scary if Viking overstep their mark and they get contained within the coil, within like a tiny combo or something. It is scary. It's just simply this Bat, Spearbreaker, and Io. They are so scary running around the map early on.
Yep.
Drow and Storm both most likely will need to jungle at some point to recover potentially a questionable laning phase. So
the questionable laning stage, what you just said, is extremely important for Liquid because you do have lanes that should in theory do well one-on-one if the lanes are static. But once you put the Spirit Breaker in rotation, once he goes mid, punishes that Storm a couple of times, the game completely changes. You need to activate this Storm because he is the key pick for your team. I actually thought that they might pick it in the last game too, because it's one of the best heroes to play against Wisp. And right now, overall, it does fairly well versus Bat Rider, who should be mid.
That seems vaguely reminiscent of Game 1 then, where it didn't seem like Viking were doing great in the lanes. But then as soon as the IO Jug combination came online, then they were like, okay, well, I mean, it didn't really matter how the laning phase goes. We're just going to group up and move around faster than you.
yeah, I think the difference in this game, they only have the Bat Rider to be that kind of enabler. They don't actually have a lot of damage outside of Firefly and then maybe Scorched Earth. And they're waiting pretty much for Spectre to come online. So if you ever see the Bat Rider make an aggressive play, as long as this Puck is able to connect into that fight, have his TP available, you punish the Bat Rider a couple times, it might bridge the gap just enough to have just enough items to go Roshan and pressure. But again, Liquid, they are on this timer just because of the Spectre v Drow matchup. But hopefully Puck and Storm can do a good job and shut this Bat Rider down.
Yeah, and Viking seems to be bridging the gap with the odds as well. Seems like Game 1 earning them a little bit of respect, and rightfully so. Is this, again, looking like another Viking GG favorite draft? Like
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say that this is completely an outdraft from Viking GG. I definitely see some upsides to it. Again, you have the Spectre versus the Drow, which is pretty solid. The Bat Rider last pick was also a pretty good pick, but I like the response from Liquid as well with the Storm Spirit. I really see strengths on both of these drafts. I would value Liquid this time around a little bit more. However, a few mistakes again, and it can all go down the drain.
Fair enough. We'll see what Viking GG are capable of and if they can pull out an upset in this first series of the day as we pass it on to our casters, Odie, Pixel, and Fogged.
Thank you very much. Yes, Game 2 ready to go. With these drafts, Fog, would you sort of agree that this time round Liquid's got a better way of maybe matching the tempo that we saw in Game 1 Viking bring with sort of a ferocious pace?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they just actually have easier to use spells and just be able to make moves around where they can actually play around each other rather than just needing, we need an ultimate, double like Mars Phoenix ulti combo. Now they have this Tiny, which opens up the map so much because you can always make those rotations. Venge, you have the same thing for Puck. Yeah, I definitely do like it, and I do agree with what the paddle would say. I like what T-Governor and Liz were saying at the end there. Damage is definitely quite limited on Viking this side. Okay. They don't have the liberty of, just your toolkit to just do damage, right? Before it was Tiny Toss, Stun, Mirana, Combo, Spirit Break, all this damage coming into play. This one, a lot of it is going to be relying on Firefly, relying on Bat Rider, who is into two heroes that are kind of good versus Bat in the olden days, right? Venge and Puck used to be looked at pretty good heroes versus Bat. They can move around and respond to him. But I've also just seen Bats run away with games and take over super hard. So that's probably the biggest thing I'm looking at to take care of everything for Viking is how good of a game does Boom have? Because he was explosive last game.
And do you like the answer to Boom? The
D-ward?
Check for the vision?
Yeah, he walked into the little side of the vision for the tower to be able to check if there's ward vision there. He gets deny, one more hit. They're both playing around it.
There we go, headed together nicely. Nice bit of teamwork for Liquid. Will secure them that ward. And then so in this mid lane, Quakefoot getting that last pick Storm as a response to the bat. Pretty solid.
Pretty solid. Not a whole lot of disabled he has to worry about. It's just Lasso, Doom, and like Spirit Breaker's abilities, which you can play around. You can you know, zip into Spirit Breaker. You can pull him beforehand. They have Gust. They have lots of different abilities this time to mess with Aramis. We're seeing them already starting to pull the wave. Panel mentioned. Drow Venge, one of the strongest like duo straight up in lane versus melees. It's Spirit Breaker and Doom. These two heroes just don't do much of anything until later on versus that Venge and Drow. Yeah, nice lane setups for Liquid.
So you imagine, well, this top lane, Drow, pretty much going to have free farm.
He just missed the range creep under tower, but should be free farm.
Okay.
He just missed the second creep, actually, in fact, too. So he should have free farm, but he just missed 2 under tower. And I think he just missed the 3rd under tower, too. Oh, no, he got it, okay. Almost missed 3 CS, but we'll be able to fix that up. And Aramis will do the full deny behind. I mean, he played that perfectly. I think this is exactly the move the Spirit Breaker needed to do, because a hero like Vengeful Spirit, you actually cannot pressure when Spirit Breaker does this. Other amazing zoning heroes like Bane, Undying, stuff like this, you can contest between that wave. But Venge, it's too scary. You're too slow and just not very strong at all.
Yeah, well, what about this mid? 12 for 5 against the 5 for 1.
Yep.
Quakefoot just playing the first few waves perfectly with the burst of the Remnants and just pushing them out and securing pretty much every single CS.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a funny lane. It works in favor of Storm because you're always pushing the lane into Bat's side, but Bat can pose kill threat always if you make a mistake on that Storm.
Sure. It feels hard, though, as the Bat. I do feel like Storm...
It is hard.
Especially if... I don't know if he's playing with Stick or if he will be, but even without that, you're always going to have the difficulty of actually getting aggressive on the Storm, because a Remnant and a pull and another Remnant, suddenly you're taking much more damage than you've been able to dish out to the Storm.
Yeah, and your Firefly has such a long cooldown. You can never, like, you're never going to be in a point, or you shouldn't be in a point usually where it's like a double creep wave and you're diving a Storm. The Storm is usually going to have his wave pushing onto your side. So you can see he didn't even scale Firefly in this matchup. He understands he's not going to get on top of that Storm in most situations. So.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, just able to at least harass a bit more efficiently than, capitalize on when he does get the high stacks with a good old flame break to at least do some damage to try and push Quakefoot away. But yeah, even with that, Quakefoot having a very, very strong showing here.
Let's see if a rotation changes things, right? Now he's level 4 on Bat, so he has Firefly, he has Flame Break. They have a Spirit Breaker on their team, so see if Aramis can look to help the mid lane. First, though, he's going to save Toby, what it looks like top.
May just die for his efforts, though. So if there's any way that Aramis could get out of it, he's trying to hide in the trees. Mickey and Insania will be able to find him, though.
Such a strong lane.
Yeah, always going to be difficult. I mean, that's sort of how it's going to go, right? If the Doom's about to die, Toby's not going to get out alive. You're going to have Aramis go in to give his life to keep Toby safe.
Yep. I think Aramis did not want to do that, honestly. I'm like 90% sure Aramis wanted to sit around the mid area and charge for the 4-minute bounty rune, or 4-minute power rune, to be able to set up onto Quakefoot with Boom. But having to try to help top, now it's messed with his rotation a little bit. They will luck out and get the rune up top.
Let's see if Tiger can keep up these body blocks, keep him in range of Quakefoot. He's doing a good job, Tiger, and is it good enough? One more proc of the overload, not enough.
Toss!
Oh, that'll do it.
That'll do it.
Tiger, some lovely little body blocking there around mid, making sure damage can be done and the kill can be picked up.
I like the Tiger match. You match the aggression, right? You see the Spirit Breaker rotating, you must do the same thing. Great little heads up there play by Liquid, ensuring that the Storm Spirit will continue to have a great time in mid lane. Quakefoot going to be up to level 6 pretty soon. Might just stick around for the bounty rune.
And we'll see. I mean, this game, Quakefoot, can he go aggressive with Item build? Does he have to get a Yules for himself first? And can he sort of go for an Orchid build on Storm?
It's not any like glaring heroes that he needs an Orchid versus. Okay. Usually it's like you're versus an Ember Spirit, you're versus a Void Spirit, you're versus a Void, something like that actually requires it. I think he can, I don't know, I think he has his options. He might just go for some more of greedy type of build. He might still go for the Orchid even too, but it's not like it's super necessary this game. Just could definitely work.
I see Aramis, he's going to be able to come around, get this ward down. Tiger still hanging around, and they did see him come over there with the ward themselves.
He's trying to get some type of like back charges onto Quakefoot before he 6. He really wants to kill this Storm at least once, but look at the way Liquid knows this is happening.
They keep it quite for very safe.
Yeah.
They've got the bodyguards up and down the river.
Yep, and they know that they're like, oh, Toby's top alone. So that means that they're trying to make this play. Storm hits 6, immediately they're going to make the move first.
Yep, straight in onto Boom with the zip. The magic missile from the back here. Insania locks down the bat. Boom up to the high ground, but the last hit from Quakefa will do it. He's got enough mana as well to tear himself away from Aramis and Soleri.
Preparation at its finest right there. Rune's coming out in 2 seconds. Aramis will not be able to get it.
Ooh.
He will be able to charge away here for a second. The zip, though, will bring him down, and Quakefa also going to get the rune.
I am Quakefa off to a hot start this game. 2-0-1. Some lovely kills here as Liquid just enabling Quakefa's game in the mid lane.
Beautiful. That's what you want to see. They're like, oh, Boxy's a puck bottom. He's not dying versus Spectre IO. It's just not going to happen. So they know they can do this Liberty. Same thing for top. It's a Drow versus a Doom. They know Mikke's got the freedom. They know that Spiritbreaker's going to play around mid. Yeah, real heads-up plays there by Liquid. And maybe thinking about getting aggressive on Shad there, but too much damage reduction.
Yeah, hard to do so
insane.
with Tiger around. Can't really go and turn back on a Boxy when Liquid poke onto Shad.
Nah. I think they're very happy with this, though. 7 minutes, your Drow hasn't gotten pressured. Your Storm hasn't gotten fully... Well, you've reacted really well to your Storm getting pressured. Yeah, looking like a real hot start here for Team Liquid.
I mean, is this another similar draft like Game 1 where Viking could just end up falling behind a little bit in the lanes, then come that sort of 10-minute plus, they start making moves as 5 and getting this snowball going like they did in the first game?
They definitely do have the potential for it, right? With Spectre Haunt, with Spiritbreaker Charge, they still do have mobility, but I think Liquid has much better responses this time. Like the Venge, the Tiny, they can move around a lot easier. Same thing with the Puck. They can always respond to those ganks and counter gank a lot easier in comparison this game. Level 6, Boxy, saving the coil.
Well, they're going to try it now. Coil drop down, responses are there. Quakefa coming in with a big zip onto Shad.
A lot of heals.
And it's not enough damage here from Liquid to kill Shad off, as he will be more than fine there.
Boxy.
The backup, the lasso's there to trip Boxy up after he's used the orb. As Boxy, he's only got that little jump left, and it's not enough of a jump to take him away from Shad. Quakefa turns back on towards the Spectre, continuing to try and burst him low, but it's so hard. With Celery healing up Shad, can they quite finish him? Shad
so
trying to go away from this Storm, but Quakefa with his Arcane Rune just has an infinite reserve of mana to keep the pressure on, get the kill. At the same time, top lane Viking will be able to dive in and find Mikke. So at least able to find a carry in return, but that is Vikings mid and carry going down on that bottom lane, with Quakefa able to clean up with the Arcane Rune.
Yeah, Arcane Rune coming in clutch. He definitely would not have had the mana for those extra little static remnants. Plus overload hits onto them there. Yeah, the damage is overwhelming. Though Viking does have a great amount of sustain down there, it's enough. And he is going to go for Orchid anyway. Just the item is just too good now. 3,400, 3,500 gold. Way too strong. But good response from Viking at least, right? They capitalize on the moment. Toby as well as Aramis, they get very aggressive. They get that Drow. And Toby's still, I mean, he's all the way up there in that net worth. The beauty about Doom. 1 or 2 kills plus your Devour and you're back in the game. Even after a rough lane.
He's going to have a strong farm on him, Tiger. And Boxy on the hunt, heading over toward this top lane. Boxy with the coil ready to go once again.
Bottom. Toby. He's under the tower as well, too. This is a scary position to be in for this Doom.
Let's see if he can run his way out of this, Tiger. Drive for the setup. Gets the Avalanche. Not going to be able to find the toss, though. On the creep instead, as Toby's able to break into the trees and get himself away, and he is out of there. Boxy unable to find him.
Nobody else could really TP, it seemed like. I thought maybe they were asking for Mikke's TP, but I believe he had already TP'd down to bottom. So no Drow TP, no Storm mana. Not enough of the two of them there.
That's 10-minute runes. Coming up now, Aramis. Going a little too close to the 3 of them. Quakefa finding the right places to be each and every time in this early game. 5-0-1 now on the Storm.
He's gonna, I feel like for Aramis this game, it's gonna be a lot harder for him to look like this tanky Spiritbreaker beast. Versus Venge and Drow, you really start to look like paper a lot of those times as these 4-position melee heroes. Already up to a 2k lead, Liquid. making all the right moves and really shutting down Boom. Look at this, 0-2-1 on the bat. As we said, last pick bat, but they responded super well versus it on Liquid, both from their mid pick as well as their rotations early game so far. Making all the right moves.
Free farm for Toby does continue though.
Yep.
We're going to see what the drum's done, so now some really good chase potential. These fights, Koifa's got to be a little careful if he overextends with the mana. Toby has the chance of running him down, getting the Doom on him.
Yeah, they still have good farm, like Toby as well as their Spectre, still chilling, still having a pretty solid game. And naturally, you know, that Spectre's always going to be good versus Drow in the mid game. Looks like he also, I believe, has his drum finished. So I think it's fighting time, right? I think Viking is the kind of style they like to play. I think it's time to just look for the battles. But I think it's going to be battles about numbers. Just like they did last game, it's all about that mobility. Split the map up, catch Liquid when they're split up with that relocate, with that charge. Yeah, Koifa's almost at Orchid, though.
Yeah, his farm is just, I mean, you should look at the comparison between him and Boom. You know, Boom really falling behind at this bat. This is going to be a pretty slow boost to travel timing from in this game.
Yeah. Also getting the Arcane Ring, of course, on Storm. Probably the best item you can get. Let's say the charge, the hunt, this is where they're going for the numbers play.
Yeah, Mickey and Insania were pushing him pretty aggressive here.
What the?
Right up by the tier 2, the two of them. As Insania, he's not out either. I mean, what were they doing there?
That's a great question there, Owen. I'm not too sure.
I mean,
they tried to go for... Okay, so they put a deep ward down, but not sure why they stuck around. You know the way Viking plays especially, too, right?
Yeah, they're going to be on you as fights.
Yeah, that's definitely a bit of an overzealous move there from Liquid. Looking to pressure the tower here. It gives Boxy a little bit of space, but yeah, that gets punished real quick.
Yeah, they've got to be careful pushing out just as the two of them. They're just easily going to be outnumbered.
Yeah.
Every time they do it, like... Okay, and it's, sure, maybe if one of them was there, it's like one of those, you know, getting solo farm, solo XP, the chance you're going to die, but when there's two down there and they're still helpless, it's like, well, what was the plan?
And look at, I mean, just look at the global. Look at their lineup. That's without the relocate. That's without the lasso. That's literally just them using Haunt and running at you with charge. So Viking, they still have everything at their disposal in order to expand if they would like to. Liquid still, of course, they're in a fine spot. That was just a little bit of painful, you know, unnecessary maybe deaths there from them.
Toby just 500 off the blink.
He is he's a big boy, and he's got the ice armor creep, probably the best creep you can find versus the Drow Ranger, as Drow's ultimate only hits through main armor, as we taught on what that was last week.
Invisibility.
Yeah,
that
Toby,
plus armor.
A real force in terms of being able to get on top of the Drow as well in these fights. Mickey, it's going to have to heavily rely on Insania to be around with the swap saves.
Koifa is very strong, but he's fragile. 1,000 HP, no treads, just straight for that Orchid. If he finds anybody by himself, though, it's very likely they'll get the kill.
Oh, an IO passing by.
They have a sentry down. They see him. They get the charge on him, too, so they're aware of this. And now rotations are coming. Koifa might just have to bail.
He's going to have to.
Oh.
Zip away.
All the way back to the tower. Full mana pool used. But top now.
Yeah,
opportunity from Toby.
He's just going for it. He's got the Doom down onto the Tiny Insania with the swap to the side. Gets him in range of the stun. They'll turn things on to Toby. Celery comes in, trying to offer up the save, but the coil's down onto the two of them into the multi-shot from Mickey, as Liquid will be able to clean those two up. Back over in the river, though, Koifa, he hung around, and they've got him. The lasso onto the Storm. Koifa, it looked like he was playing his chances there for the 14-minute power rune. It didn't spawn bottom. And already we saw he used all of his mana to get back towards the tower, so he was playing out, walking alone in the river with no way to get out.
Look at those tips. You see how much gold he just got for that kill there? 500 for Boom, because there's a mega kill streak from Koifa. Juicy. But we did see what we were talking about earlier, is that response that Liquid does have this time. Your versus Doom, your versus Bat, they have Venge Swap. They have a lot of different ways to bail each other out. And Boxy, cool item choices this game from him. Going for that Vessel. Not something you see the most often, but versus IO.
Yeah, someone's got to get
Doom,
it.
Someone's got to get it. Looked real good up top there as he got that coil plus Vessel charge immediately. Now they've got the blink on Taiga. He just finished this one up. So they're trying to press forward here, look for those bounties, and they'll find a freebie.
Aramis just caught, stepping up into the blindness of the high ground.
And now they get some space to hit the tower. With this Drow, tower gets brought down very quickly. Viking, they don't have Doom available. They have Haunt, but Yeah, a bit too scared to go in here versus all 5 of Team Liquid. This is not the fights they want. They want the split fights. They don't want the head-on 5v5. They want to be going for like the numbers, take people picked off.
Dire are scanning. Radiant's middle tower
Liquid
has fallen.
getting active.
Here we have it. Big zip in, Toby. Dodging with the blink now, maybe with the counterplay. Viking GG coming charging
The bot
across.
fight.
Aramis is in, onto Quoifer. Shad comes in with a horn, into the lasso. They've caught Quoifer.
They made it look easy.
They're going to turn over for more now. Toby trying to charge in towards Mickey and Insania. They're on the retreat, Liquid.
The drums, they're popped.
This is the 5-man plays of Viking that we saw come out on top each and every time in game 1. They're just running them down, but there is a nice 3-man dream coil from Boxy. There'll be a buyback for Celery trying to come over. Mickey's going for the TPR. Is there a bash? There isn't. Mickey's out and away. We'll make it out of this one still. The chase continues.
Oh, he's going to TP to base?
Oh, he TP'd to the tower. He's
going to go down
dead.
now for that.
Oh,
no. Oh, no.
Oh, no. I thought he was going home. He
They
didn't.
might get a kill, though.
Let's see. They got Shad. Insania also falling. Can they find Boom as well? Zip over onto the bat. They've got the catch with the silence.
All right, all right.
All right, works out. It was all the...
It was a bait.
It was the plan from Mickey. Yeah, he said, let me stay on the map. We're going to bait them past this tower, and you guys are going to clean up. And that was the case. They get Boom and they get Shad because of that bait.
Yeah, Mickey's like, TP to tower. Koikva's respawning. Koikva's got the cleanup. Thank you, Koikva. And Koikva will be able to. But we see the relentless aggression. This is the Viking style.
Yeah,
Pop their drums, run up the hill. Even though you get coiled, run through the coil, get on top of the drow.
Yeah. And we do see, though, as you mentioned, Liquid being able to fight back much better than they were able to deal with it in game 1.
Oh, the Doom. It's a blink. Toby, the surprise.
Koifa.
That should be able to find them a kill here.
Oh, definitely. Koifa's gone.
See ya. And they want another?
I mean, the dream coil's down to the 3 of them, but Aramis is still able to get over towards Tiger. They'll lose Celery. See on the side, Insania trying to go for the swap up, but the coil's already come to an end. Jump forward
nice
Tiger. Gets the avalanche onto the 3 of them, sets up for Mickey to finish off the kill. Aramis charges in to put Mickey's damage to a stop, but Mickey still able to get that final hit over with the help of Boxy. They pick up Toby. There's double kill there for the puck. Liquid again able to fight back into this aggression that Viking GG are trying to bring, and they're going to turn straight towards the pit. And with the Drow and the Venge, they'll have no trouble cleaning this up before Viking's back on the map.
Yeah, I wonder why Insania didn't actually use the swap there on Spirit Breaker. I thought he would just get another kill when he was TPing out. He saved the charge. Maybe he wanted to save it defensively. Either way, they won the fight because of the positioning. Great spot there for Mickey to be standing. Boxy as well as Taiga did a great job zoning those heroes away.
Yeah, and it's the last few fights have sort of kicked off on the death of Quakefer, but it's worked out fine for Liquid. Quakefer keeps getting jumped. It doesn't matter. The rest of Liquid, the 4 of them, can fight back against Viking.
Oh, Quakefer, though. You were mentioning him. And look, the vacuum lasso.
All right, drags him back. Quakefer, last bit of mana, it's gone.
That's the Aegis. Do they have another way to set up?
There's nobody coming to help him, but as you say, he's going to have the full mana.
Charge through the creep. He tried to get him, but yeah, it's not.
Yeah, that's all they have, just that bash from the charge.
It's a clever little charge there play, but... All right, just like that, they punch back and get rid of that Aegis real quick. A little bit of a... I love seeing that in a vacuum lasso, right? Just pulls him back out of his zip no matter what.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the reasons for it, right? Because nowadays you're not invulnerable during the zip. So he casted it before he started the zip. He zips past him, and then it pulls him out of the ball lightning, right?
Something like... I mean,
so that's why it looks a little awkward, because he's getting pulled out of the ult.
I mean, sometimes we've seen that one happen so much. Like Miranda leaps away, and then you get lassoed after the leap. You know, it's just an interaction. It's a feature, right? It's a feature. Insania, he's going to start getting pretty farmed. You see he's gotten that Philosopher's Stone. Medallion finished up. Perfect item build for him. Good item build for his team, right? Of course, the Medallion benefits a lot. Not the best item versus, I guess, Vikings. But it's still your Avenge. What else do you buy? It's just such a good item. There's just a lot of magic damage on the side of Viking early on. That doesn't really provide so much against it. But such a good item. Aramis, he'll stay bottom, try to protect his Spectre, pass off that Dragon Scale. He also has a Medallion himself to counteract that heavy physical damage that Liquid has.
Has been killed.
And who got the courier? Taiga did? I think that was the Manta, right?
I think that was his ultimate orb, yeah.
I think that
it was sad. The shop, did he buy up?
I think he might have charged. They're making the plays. They've got the global.
All right, and they go with the horn straight up towards that top outpost. They'll take out Quakefair. They'll also find Tiger. Tiger tries for a TP out, but he ain't getting out in time.
Big jump by Toby.
I mean, it feels kind of weird because we've now seen Quoikfer die like 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to be mattering too much for Liquid. I mean, is that going to change? Can they really just keep playing like this with Quoikfer sort of just dying to Viking whilst the rest of the team farms, or is this going to start to hit Liquid in the face soon?
I think it's going to start hitting them in the face soon. It's a Drow versus Spectre lineup. Like, naturally, the Drow is going to start. It's going to start becoming a lot more difficult for Mickey as the game progresses. They need a secondary carry.
Yeah, so like Quoikfer making space by dying over and over again, it's just not going to be good enough.
No, definitely not. Especially not in the position that he's dying, right? Like, he just died on his side of the map. They had to expend quite a lot for him, though. They did have to use pretty much everything, so it's how Liquid capitalize off of it next. But they lost their Aegis. He's died a couple times. See what Mickey does with this space, though, as Quoikfer's game has halted quite significantly. He's pretty much tied in net worth with the Batrider, a couple chain deaths. Now, like we said, though, ultimates were used. Let's see how Liquid responds. They have to try to make some type of aggressive move. 4K lead. They're walking into the high ground.
Oh, they're going to catch on to Aramis. And we'll be the man to tank the gank. Everyone else is out.
You had your warning.
This move's going to get a little harder to do now that Celery does have his mech complete. So, extra bit of burst save potential.
No mech on the side of Liquid either, so they're always going to have to factor that into their team fights. And wow, that's actually almost a BKB on Doom. That makes his game a lot easier. There's still, like we said, a lot of straight physical damage that comes out from Liquid, but if he ice armors himself and then BKBs, he has good ways to just get into Mickey onto the backline.
Yeah, he's pretty much always going to be able to get his Doom off.
Yeah.
You know, in these fights, unlikely that they sort of tear him apart before he steps up.
Yeah.
And drops it down.
See that, you know, they have that ward top too, so they're scouting where the Drow's positioned.
Yeah, and you really sort of start to see the hit that Quoikfer's game's taken with those deaths on his item timing, because it was a very quick Orchid, but it's been quite a few minutes since he had that finished up, and he's only just picked up the Kyre on top of it.
Wow,
so.
okay, yeah, he's very slowed down.
Yeah.
Does he still have the Arcane Ring on Quoikfer? I actually was trying to...
I mean, he must be holding on to it, right?
No, okay, he got the Essence.
Oh,
sorry, that's right. He did have
better.
Essence, yeah. I was wondering if they were going to give him the Vambrace, because it's actually a lot of damage that you get amped up from the spell damage alone, just from the double null thing that you get from it. But they gave it to Box Save for now, so it's like this is survivability because he's struggling. So.
Yeah, exactly. He's still 1200 HP, so that Essence Ring boost to the HP is going to make all the difference. Top, Aramis is going to be safe. The Haunt comes out. Toby's in with a BKB. Quoikfer has a DD rune. Can he fight with it? So he seems a little scared. He's trying to get away.
Good swap, disengage.
Hides inside of the pit. They're going to turn back over towards the high ground. Look towards Boxy. Boxy goes over with the orb. We'll be able to pick the kill up on the IO. Aramis getting burst low. Quoikfer coming in to try and go for the finisher, and he's able to find it. Takes out Aramis. This time, Liquid, they'll find themselves the 2 supports. Insania with the swap back onto Boom will get him back in reach of Mickey as they find themselves 3. Over towards Toby they look. Toby will have the movement speed to make it away. Liquid, they are able to turn and hit back hard there in that fight. I mean, Toby commits in as the Doom. Wasn't able to find an opportunity to use his ultimate, though. Didn't find a target.
I think the Shadow Blade caught them off guard. I saw the Haunt come out, the Doom blink on top of Mickey, and then he just Shadow Blade and got swapped away, and they reset the fight so beautifully on the side of Liquid. Yeah, I don't think Viking was prepared for that one, because they used their Haunt, they used their lasso, they tried to jump in the back, but just couldn't get the right targets. Now Dusts definitely will be bought in preparation to deal with that, but a big win for Liquid. They can back up, get themselves some much needed breathing room, in particular for Quoikfer. Shad's still farming, like he's still a beast, and it's always going to be a concern. You have a Drow Ranger lineup versus a Spectre, and this Spectre is not dying. Although you are keeping a good lead, it's always something to keep in the back of your minds. Taiga. He wants the ward.
He's going to get it. So yeah, still this 7k lead for Liquid. The draft has definitely worked out in the sense that they are able to play the Dota that Vikings been bringing to them.
Yeah.
But this Spectre does still. Onto Insania, the Haunt comes out as well. Toby charges in Mickey.
They're on Mickey.
Gonna get Doom. They've got themselves the target. They've found the Drow. Isolated Mickey as there's no save for him with Insania already out of the fight. Charge across as well from Aramis. He's trying to go for a further target, looking for Quakefer. Quakefer still with some mana ready to play with as he gets himself up to the high ground. Quakefer will live. Viking finally able to get back and on the level of finding these moves where they get Mickey out of it. And with Mickey gone, that is a huge amount of the damage that Liquid have been able to get off in these team fights. So it makes it suddenly very hard for Liquid to fight back once the Drow's out.
Yeah, Liquid can't. As soon as the Liquid gets seen with the smoke, right? That feels like when the fight's almost impossible because Haunt gets popped and they have so many ways to collapse on top of Mickey. It feels like Liquid has to be the ones that are doing the initiation in order to protect that Drow Ranger. There's so many different forms of vision and aspect. Yeah, Doom and Spectre's missing. You see the way that Boxy's saying it. It's just like these two heroes, they're gonna beeline on top of Mickey every fight, especially because, like we mentioned, Quakefa's game got slowed down. They can kind of start to think about Quakefa later on. He doesn't really deal out that much damage. So just focus Drow, then look for him.
On Taiga.
Taiga.
Finds himself a catch onto Aramis. Tossed back into the magic missile. Celery's going to be in with the save, though. The coil comes out a little too late. Celery gets him out. Celery, of course...
They're coming to fight this.
I mean, they're going to try to. They want to keep Celery safe on the return. Boom leads in with the lasso.
Nice
will be broken immediately by Insania's swap. Shad caught by the magic missile. Celery tethers across over towards the Spectre, but he gets pulled back. Quakefa takes out the IO. Boom, his BKB's worn off. The swap trying to separate Toby from Mickey. Mickey tries to go with the multi-shot, but Aramis charges across Mickey, hits onto Quakefa into the ultimate. Taiga surrounded by the illusions of Shad. Taiga trying to run. Quakefa and Boxy will finish the kill onto Aramis. It's a 3 for 3.
Shad's cleaning up,
backing
though.
onto Quakefa. Quakefa, very little mana left to play with, uses his last reserves to get himself into the river.
The dagger, not quite going to be able to chase him forward there. They clean up Toby. They can't deal with Shad, though.
I mean, that is the problem. I mean, even in this fight where the results end up being even, I mean, if anything, Liquid out on top a little bit by the goal due to Celery making that investment at the buyback at the end of it all. But yeah, that definitely seems to worry. Shad in that fight, I don't think he ever got lower than half HP.
No.
This Spectre starting to really look like an issue for Liquid, despite Liquid as a team still being ahead overall.
It's just, there's so many different ways for them to get on top of Mickey. This charge at the end there is beautiful, comes through pretty much everybody, hits 3 or 4 targets. The Doom, the Spectre Haunt, the Bat Rider, everything just gets popped, and Mickey's just in panic mode, right? You have to just kind of hold your ground, hope to the best you can get those right clicks, because they just have so many tools. Now an Eye of Scotty finished up too, so that slow is going to come into play. Shad is very scary, even though Liquid has an 8k gold lead. This Spectre is something out of control right now.
And it's sort of what you said as well, that seems to be the biggest thing that stands to be the difference. The fact that, sure, both Boom and Quakefa, their individual games have slowed down a lot. You know, Quakefa is slightly ahead, but still as this Storm, his item progression has really slowed down. I think he's nearly got the Bloodstone done over the Orchid, but that has just put so much pressure on Mickey as the Drow. Whereas on Viking's side, sure, it's a lot of pressure on the Spectre. It doesn't matter. It's a Spectre.
It's a Spectre,
He's
exactly.
more than happy to be that one carry, whereas Liquid's lineup may need a second. We'll have a little bit of a timeout here. Hopefully everything's all right. May just be on our end. And GG. No, that was game 1. We're good. We're good. Should be able to get back in.
The game's over. Oh God, it's the script. Reveal it.
It's game over, and they've all swapped their heroes. Now we should be able to quickly reconnect. Apologies for this. As hopefully things for the players are still good. So we'll get ourselves back in. But yes, it's definitely going to be the test of if Liquid can deal with this Spectre. I mean, is there any other way they could sort of itemize towards it? I mean, you're looking at anything else on the team that they can get to deal with this Spectre better, or to keep the Drow safe? As we get ourselves back into the action and actually straight back into a fight.
What the heck?
That looks to have gone very well for Liquid.
Wait, 3 are dead.
All right.
I mean, did Liquid smoke?
I mean, that's going to be Roach as well for them.
Oh, and a regen rune. All right, well, I feel like we just missed maybe the potential, like, huge fight for Liquid.
They didn't get the Spectre, though, so this was a fight without the Haunt.
But I guess...
But a very good fight nonetheless for Liquid, as this will give them the tools to maybe start poking towards the high ground and trying to do more whilst the Haunt is down.
I'm assuming that they must have just smoked on the situation, like right when they had the chance. Like smoke, look for the fight because there was no Doom, there was no Haunt available, so they just found the heads-up plays, got 3 of them there. And, I mean, that's a huge place to take it too, right in front of the Roche pit, and they get a regen rune. And can't quite get Boom, but yeah, pretty huge. And I believe it was right after Bloodstone was picked up too. So
yes, I imagine he's got the Bloodstone charges up from that.
Yep.
Radiant's
All right, I mean,
structures are fortified.
massive. And now Boxy has a full. This is the item that I was actually going to say that they need in order to protect the Drow is that Aghanims on Puck, because those BKBs that are out, he can actually prevent, and they can do fun plays always. You always have the potential for Puck and Venge, especially with Ags, that super long duration break when you swap out a coil. They can catch people off guard.
Yeah, they got multiple ways, right?
Yeah,
you got
toss
the
back,
toss,
yeah.
even the push from the Gust, right? I mean, even the pull from the Vortex. You
I mean,
find yourself,
technically, yeah.
technically, sure, it's a little harder with those because the amount of movement done to the enemy isn't that great. But there is the chance. There's
Definitely the chance.
A lot of push and pulls from Liquid's lineup.
Yeah, Boxy's having a killer game. He had the Lincolns, he has the full Ags, he's got the full Vessel. Yeah, doing a very good job for his team right now with the Blink 2 on top, level 22.
Yeah, that last fight really put Quoifer and Boxy back on the map in terms of farm. They're right back up there.
7-1 and 13 on Boxy. He's really displaying right now this offlane Puck that we don't get to see too often.
There we go, smoke on smoke. Viking.
Still no Doom available for a second.
Can Boom find the jump? He's going to spot out Insania. He's going to try and look to start things on it, but Tiger's in with the counterplay. They'll still commit with the lasso. Look to drag down the Vengeful Spirit. Here goes the Horn. Can Shap find the target? He's looking over towards the backlines, trying to go towards this tiny, but quite from Boxy. They're already in. They're taking out Aramis. Mickey with the multi-shots turns. Focus is Shad. Shad being chased down by Quoifer. Quoifer now goes over towards the easier kill of Boom. Will get it. The Doom is down onto Mickey. As they have managed to eliminate the Drow, there'll be a buyback from Boom. As Viking, they're trying to put more resources in this to win this fight, but the Spectre, Shad's in trouble. Quoifer, lower mana, gets one more Remnant out. Quoifer will fall for it. That's the Aegis gone. Boom, he bought back for this one. He's trying to find Tiger, but it looks like it's going to be a dieback from Boom. He cannot turn this one around on his own. As the bat out for a second time, Liquid's lead continuing to grow. Despite a few casualties themselves, still a very solid fight for Liquid as they hold their own.
Yeah, they get 3-man coiled. They get on top of the Drow, but at that point, they'd already lost so many of their tools. Mickey, great positioning, sitting in the back line, just firing his arrows onto 3 heroes. Yeah, continuing to take really good fights on Liquid. Even if they're, their main carry kind of dies, that one they have the Aegis, and Boxy's just reaping all the rewards. Boxy's like, thank you. I'm up to almost level 25 now on Puck. Having a dream performance, really. Him and Taiga surviving throughout all of it. The entirety of that fight as you see them all the way jumped up in those levels, 24 and 21.
Yeah, some insane levels actually coming out from Liquid Zeros.
Yeah, they could not get on top of that Drow fast enough though, right? That 3-man coil controlled the majority of Viking. So they couldn't get on top of Mickey. What the? Go
on, well, you know this game, Fog.
Of course.
I have no idea what was happening.
That was Clockwork and Techies.
What was going on?
That was mid lane.
That was the mid lane.
That was the mid lane. Techies and Clockwork. You see Rattletrap. That's my boy Rattletrap right there. Oh god, Dota 1 looked so terrible. I forgot how you can't even see what anything is anymore.
I like that. Very nice. See, I would have commentated, but I mean, I'd never played the game, so
you can still
what
tell
am I
what's
looking
going
at?
on.
I could not tell. There was like some pixels in the mid lane, and some units.
The map feels a lot bigger. That's the one thing that you have to get really used to in Dota 1. Immediately when you look at it, the screen just looks massive.
Is that because the map was actually bigger, or the models just smaller?
I think it was a bit of both, a bit of everything there. It always felt like the map was bigger for me when I played. I haven't played Dota 1 in 4 years though. So I tried to play an Earth Spirit 4 years ago, and I couldn't even find my stones. I was so lost. It was so tough to play.
I imagine the buttons would all be very different. Oh, Tiger. He's going to catch himself. Doom outside of the base.
Toby, as well as Celery. And now, looks like they actually got an Axe Coil on the Spectre as well.
Shad. The swap to the side. They're buying back to try and save him, but Shad, I don't think they can. He's gone. Liquid looking to clean this one up. No chance for the Spectre to carry this one away. As Quoifer, he's finishing the show with a bam. As triple kill for him. The 4 of them dead. The mass tips coming out on Toby there from Liquid.
He bought back and died just immediately. They probably know they can maybe just end the game here. They have quite a long time without Spectre. 60 seconds. They have Drow Venge. Yeah,
that's a huge window to finish this one. Yeah, Liquid.
I think they can go tier 4s after this tower with their lineup.
Yeah, they really wisened up their playing draft after game 1.
Get in there.
They came in with this fighting lineup.
Get into those tier 4s. Insania knows. He's pinging.
It's time to end this one.
End this game. Solid plays there. Even though versing a very farm Spectre throughout the majority of it, Mickey has stayed on top. Boxy as well. Perfect performance by this puck, always being in the right place, right time. Yeah, they should be able to end this one right now.
Tier 4's down onto the Ancient. They've got the two of them alive, but Celery gets popped straight away by the combo. The Ancient will fall. GG is called, and Liquid will strike back here in game 2, bringing it to a 1-1. And, I mean, they look